Hello, Mob Codes Reviews. You suggest it, I review it. And, well, I initially thought I could stop reviewing horror movies because now that October's over. But I decided to review a horror film I personally am really fond of. And that's Serial Mom, directed by John Waters and released in 1994.
Life doesn't have to be ugly. Look at the birds out there. Listen to their call. Wee, wee.
This is the story of Beverly Sutphin,
Scrambled eggs, anybody?
a devoted mother,
I'm so happy I could chip. You know how I hate the brown word.
a loving wife,
You think the kids are awake? We could be very quiet.
I'm ready,
Honey, you're hot tonight.
and a suspected murderer.
Oh, kids, are you doing your homework?
How did America's #1 mom turn into one of America's most wanted? Is she really guilty?
Are you a serial killer? Chip, the only cereal I know anything about is Rice Krispies.
Is she the only one with a motive?
Believe that damn letter, Margaret.
Give her a happy face. Or is there someone else
I'm stood up. I'll kill that jerk.
with an axe to grind?
Oh.
You'll never get a boyfriend.
Meanwhile, this small Baltimore suburb keeps getting smaller and smaller.
It's been a crazy day, hasn't it?
Savoy Pictures asks the burning question,
Is your wife mental?
is Beverly Sutphin just a sweet suburban housewife?
Well, I don't know what it is about today, but I feel great. Cookie?
Or is she Serial Mom?
Cool. Is she Ben?
Kathleen Turner, Sam Waterston, and Ricky Lake. Serial Mom. Every woman wants to be wanted. Just not for Murder One.
Beverly, I've read all about this.
Is it menopause?
Serial Mom was released in 1994 and stars Kathleen Turner as a devoted wife and house mother who seems to be kind and pleasant, but as it turns out, she has a bit of a dark side to her. And the dark side being, she's a serial killer who has a habit of killing anybody who either messes with her family and gets on her nerves. Her family consists of her husband, her older daughter, and her son, played by Matthew Lillard, who pretty much is just playing Matthew Lillard. All the other characters are okay, but their main goal in this movie is either to get killed or just to be there. Now, there aren't that many kills in this movie. At least for a movie like this, there's plenty. There's only 7 kills in the whole movie, and for a 1994 horror comedy, that's enough, I guess. The kills are the most funniest thing about this movie. You think she's going to do one thing, but in reality, she's doing another. And despite the DVD cover and Blu-ray cover, she never uses a knife at all in the movie. Although she is shown with a knife, she never uses it on anybody at all in the movie. For example, when she finds out her daughter's ex-boyfriend was somebody else, she kills him by stabbing in the back with a fireplace poker while he's in a bathroom. But then the funny part is that she tries flicking the gore off of the fireplace poker, and when she can't, she just throws it off and runs away. Probably after she washed her hands. Another funny kill is that she sneaks into a lady's house for not following the rules of a video store, which was you're supposed to rewind the tape when you return it. And she beats her upside the head multiple times with a leg of lamb. It's funny, it's creative, and they dispose of the evidence pretty quick by having the dog eat it. Unfortunately, there are some of the kills are just regular kills you see in a slasher movie. Like her running somebody over with her car, setting somebody on fire, stabbing somebody in the chest with a pair of scissors, and dropping an air conditioner out on somebody's head. So just typical horror movie kills. The acting is great in this. The acting is so-so. Kathleen Turner is really great in this movie. She does a great job of being this somewhat innocent and kind mother, while also being the scary and psychotic killer when she needs to be. She knows how to be sinister at some points, while also letting her comedic side show through. that humor applies to the other characters. Her husband's has an interesting way of dealing with this. He finds out his wife's a killer. What does he do? Does he support her? Does he turn her in? What do you do in this scenario? The daughter's your typical geeky daughter who has a hard time finding a boyfriend, and most of the time gets a boyfriend. And her son works at a video store, and he's obsessed with horror movies. In fact, there's horror movie references all over this thing. This was before Scream, so it's pretty funny seeing that they would eventually it's actually funny that Matthew Lillard would also go on to be in Scream. There's like a little pop-up poster for Death Becomes Her, which is another horror comedy I've seen and I do thoroughly enjoy. But besides that, half the characters in this movie just act weird. Like there are these two garbage men who sympathize with the mother, and during the ending, which I'll get to in a minute, they defend her because you killed somebody for us, so we're going to defend you. I don't think it even phases them that she's a killer. She's just is. Now, there's other ways that the people in this movie look at this. First of all, the way that they find out that this woman is a killer is funny. It's funny because at the time, the idea of seeing a suburban housewife / mother being a killer was new. And the way people react to this in fiction is funny because they see her as like this celebrity. Like there's merchandise for her, there's t-shirts, little pins, and her son is planning on making a TV show. That's like really funny. Alright, so I'm about to give away the ending to Serial Mom, but before I do that, I just want to mention that another main problem I have with the movie is the pacing. For the first and second act of the movie, the pacing is pretty quick. You go to meeting the characters, to seeing what the mother does, to her killing people. Then when it gets to the finale, which is this trial scene, the pacing kind of slows down. They spend more time trying to make it funny, but the problem is that the humor doesn't really stick in some places. It's like you put gum on the wall or something and throw things at it and see what sticks. Sometimes there's hits, sometimes you miss. Now, alright, I'm about to give away the ending to Serial Mom, and if you don't want to get spoiled, just watch the movie. After she kills 6 people, she is arrested and put on trial. Her lawyer proceeds to leave, and Kathleen Turner becomes her own lawyer, defending herself against the people, knowing that she'll get a good response out of people, so she seems normal. And while this is going on, her son is trying to get a hold of this actress to play her in this TV series he's working on. At first, it seems to go great. She wins the trial and proceeds to be home free. Then, in the very end, she corners this woman who's calling somebody on the phone. She gets pissed at the woman for wearing shoes after Labor Day and proceeds to beat her to death with the phone. And the movie ends with the idea that there may be a continuation. But this movie came out in 1994, and there's never been a continuation, so I guess you can enjoy it as a standalone movie. Serial Mom is an interesting kind of horror film. It's not necessarily cliche, though there are some cliche moments, but it takes more time of being a comedy than being a horror movie. There are some horror elements in it, but most of the time it's comedy. Though it has its issues, I personally love this movie, and it kills me every time I see it. If you haven't seen this movie, you really should. I give Serial Mom 8.5 stars out of 10. I'm Kobe the Reviewer, and I'll see you next time.